welcome.
What's up?
Nat, episode 3 of the Feel Fresh podcast. I just spoke to our admin assistant. She's working on uploading these to our first podcast channel, YouTube channel.
Right.
So within the next week or two, individuals will be able to go back and watch all the episodes, which is pretty cool, I think.
Perfect.
Mate, how was your weekend?
First of all, I just love that you're rocking the cord headphones.
Yeah, gotta go cord headphones.
Vintage.
Yeah, it's so vintage, isn't it? I've got 2 sets of $300 AirBuds and Samsung Galaxy Buds in my laptop bag over here. But no, not today.
No.
Mate, I personally, to be honest, I'm not too tech savvy, but I personally find so many Bluetooth connection issues.
Mate, so many issues.
Hence the problem. Hence why I'm rocking the cords.
Yeah, good. Keep it.
How was your weekend?
Tidy. Very good. A lot of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome day, man. Awesome day. Did you get a game of golf in?
Did not. Honestly,
I'm going to keep asking you about golf membership every podcast, so everybody that's viewing can...
I'll do it today.
So that everybody that's listening can see how long it takes.
Yeah, I'll do it today. Maybe.
Mate, are you looking forward to our golf event coming up in 6 weeks on the dot, actually? 6 weeks to this day.
Yes, I am. I thought it was closer. 6 weeks is good. I can get some training in.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to give our viewers a little insight into what our hobbies are and what interests us outside of drinking less and feeling fresh.
Yep.
Who are you thinking will take out the championship this year?
Me.
You're feeling it. You're feeling it. Why? Tell the audience, why is that? Why do you think you'll win this golf championship?
Well, because look, anyone who's watching this is a ridiculous conversation. I'm sure no one cares, but here we are. Actually, people will care. People will care probably. So we got a golf event. It's 4 games back to back on the one day. Now, that's a big advantage for me because I play very slow, very steady, and there I am. I'm a pest. I just don't go away. I won't get crazy. I won't get down in the dumps. I will just do my job.
Yeah, you nailed it there. You're a pest.
I'm a pest.
out of that whole spiel, you're a pest on the golf course.
Yep.
Viewers that are watching, Nat is slow and steady, straight to the point. It's probably what makes him so good at his job. I'm hard and fast. So I'm
fast and loose.
I'm going to go really fast. It's probably what led me to experiencing gambling and alcohol addiction so heavily.
But so true.
But let's see. We'll keep you all updated in 6 weeks on who took out the golf championship for the day. That aside, welcome to episode 3 of our Feel Fresh podcast. It's so awesome to be rocking out with you. For those of you that are listening live, feel free to jump into the chat panel or the Q&A panel. Just scroll above or below your screen. If you are watching this live, we'd love to hear from you throughout the call. If you have any questions or something's really resonating with you, please ask away. We won't read out any names due to privacy, but it will be really valuable for those that are watching. Now, I thought we'd dive into today. One of the most common questions we're experiencing from our Drink Less Feel Fresh members is, especially at this time of year, and if you're watching the recording, this is the end of October. So we're kind of leading into the festive season.
Yep.
And it is often the time that our Drink Less Feel Fresh membership community ramps up in regards to questions, challenges, obstacles.
Obstacles everywhere.
Yeah. And
got the crazy drunk auntie coming over. She brings 4 cartons. What do I do with it?
For anybody that's listening for the first time, welcome to having a conversation that matters most in a very lighthearted and playful way. Often, and we won't harp on about this enough, will we, Nat? I think it's our main frame or our main theme at Drink Less Feel Fresh is the contrast that we provide, which is traditionally speaking, we're going to have conversations about alcohol. They're really fun. We can joke about them. We can get everyone to see how fast they can scull their drinks. But the minute it's about, well, how do we detox? And the conversation just goes so restrictive and certain and controlling and manipulative and like, let's not have fun on this journey. And as Nat's just shared there, I love that. Like, my drunk auntie's coming over. She's bringing a bottle of scotch and I'm a scotch drinker. What do I do? If you can't take the piss out of yourself and just look at alcohol for what it is, which is a really interesting, I'm going to use the word funny, drug that we all consume, or a lot of us consume, at really high levels. And,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that? To play the game of like, no, let's not treat it like that anymore. Let's treat it like it's the devil. Where have you seen that creates problems for people? Even, I might even open up a bit of a rabbit hole here, but like potentially even just looking at any topic with a taboo mindset, a dark, devilish, don't go there kind of approach.
I don't know. It is strange. Like there's obviously a hangover period from, excuse the pun, that was actually unintended. But I think there's still a massive hangover period from literally, it's going to sound strange, but the whole drugs are bad, don't do drugs, massive campaign that went kind of, worldwide, started in America, that all substances that alter what you do and who you are, if it's not over the counter, these drugs are just terrible, terrible things. Because we can buy it straight over the counter, it's just not put in that class, But it is. It exactly is. It's a thing that you do that you consume from outside of you that has an immediate effect, and all those effects are different person to person.
Nat, question for you, and I'm putting you on the spot here. Why do you think?
You never do that, do you, Tommy? You never do that. You never, ever put me on the spot.
Never put you on the spot. Why do you think there is such a clear discrepancy or difference? I'll ask you a better question. Why do you think we love to categorize illegal drugs?
Yeah.
Over the counter or just from a bottle shop? Like, because when you say just because we can buy them over the counter, I'm not just thinking alcohol. I'm thinking prescription meds that don't need a prescription, just over the counter medication, Panadol, Nurofen. It's like, why do you think we like to class?
Easy question. At the bottom of people's hearts and souls, no one actually knows if they're a good person or not. So as long as they're following the rules, it's a great lever on trying to be a good person. Goodness has nothing to do with cultural accepted values of what you can buy and what you can't. But because people really, really struggle with their own sense of goodness and struggle with, it's a hard thing. Am I a good person? It's a hard thing because we're forced into situations, etc. So when we have a substance that we can use and that's over the counter, why question it? It's good. It's good. I'm okay to do this. I'm not breaking any laws, etc. But
I've just made the decision that we're changing the call and this is where we're going.
Okay. I'll add one more thing to that. I'll add one more difference to that. If you use any other substances, Australia we have the worst drug policies in the world. But anyway, if you use any substance that's not over the counter, what happens is whatever that experience is, do your thing. Whatever that experience is, you have to allow the paranoia to creep into it because it is illegal. So whatever, you could be smoking a joint or whatever. And if you're not really settled with yourself, the paranoia of the illegal status of that will creep into the experience. But when you drink booze, there's no paranoia because it's over the counter.
Well, it's so well said. As you were saying that, I was clearly just looked at it. I know some people that take illicit substances and feel great about themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not, following the rules. That's what I like what you're saying here. It's not really about the drug, is it? It's not really about the drug of choice. Or what I'm hearing here is this giving me social permission for it to be okay?
Bingo.
Doesn't that cause a lot of pain for people? And I think it's one of the biggest problems in the alcohol industry is it's legal. Everybody's doing it. Why am I experiencing negative repercussions? In 2015, when I put, like metaphorically speaking, I put my hand up, like, look, I need some help. I'm drinking too much. I'm gambling too much. One of the things that caused me so much pain, like just deep emotional shame and guilt, was why aren't I good enough to just drink and be happy like the rest of the population? There must be something wrong with my body. And I would watch my friends who could drink copious amounts of alcohol as much as I was drinking and then be fine the next day. And it just immediately went from, the alcohol's a bad thing. It's not good for me. It's a toxin. And I never looked at it like that. I always looked at it like, there's something wrong with me. I must have anxiety disorders. I must have potential depression to be onset that I don't know about. Like, I just, that's the definition of shame, isn't it? There's something wrong with me.
Yeah, something wrong with me. Yes, exactly. We've got a hand raised down here, Tommy. I think it was Isabel.
Team, yeah, I'll just jump in here. Team, being the third episode here, can anybody that's listening just jump into either the chat panel or the Q&A panel? Would love to know, as we're doing this live with you, what panel works best for you. Just jump to the chat panel and feel free to say hi. Or Isabel, if you had a question, feel free to type it in. Hey, Amanda. Hey, everybody that's on the call. And let us know if you've experienced this before. Let us know if you've experienced this before. In my experience, Nat, you might have your own definitions here, but in my experience, running on that feeling of shame, the definition of, or a clear definition of shame that can help people is shame is I did something wrong. And toxic shame is I am wrong. And I think that's really
Nice.
important to kind of understand those levels that you can
Can
get
you say that again, Tommy? Can you say that again? That was very nice.
So one of the things that's always stuck with me is really understanding what shame is. And when I learned that there's actually two descriptions or two levels to shame, it clarified a lot for me, especially when it came to drinking. So I realized that I was experiencing a lot of shame, not because I was drinking alcohol, but because I was drinking alcohol, then I couldn't perform the next day. So I was experiencing shame because I was hungover to the extent that I couldn't perform. And I was looking at other people that drank and did drugs and they were still performing. So I was thinking to myself, shame is I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong. Yet if you just allow shame to capitalize and compound on itself so much, you'll hit toxic shame, and toxic shame, you collapse, you're doing things that are wrong.
You
and you
internalize it so deep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so level one, so to speak, of shame. I did something wrong. It's almost like that guilt. It's like, I did something wrong. I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. And then you can get to toxic shame, which is just that I am wrong. This is me.
That fully internalized.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. Who on the calls experienced that, whether you're listening live or the recording of this? Because isn't this a juicy topic? The discrepancy or the difference, the understanding of when is it me, when is it that? And there's this there is this approach and this philosophy of it's always us and it's always coming from us, but it's also important to understand that we are raised within tribes of people. If you lived on an island, you were born on an island, no one else was there with you, then you'd fall into the category of it's always you.
Yeah.
But if you've grown up in a culture and a tribe, they say your environment influences over 60% of your behavior. Then sometimes taking responsibility is passing. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Nat? I believe sometimes taking responsibility is knowing when to pass blame, is knowing the difference between.
Of course. There's a big, the responsibility movement is really important, clearly. You got to take responsibility for your actions. But what happens is if you take that too far and you just start going, all right, well, that's a cheat code, everything is on me, then what happens really quite quickly is responsibility turns into self-sacrifice, and then self-sacrifice turns into this kind of martyr situation, and you go, well, must be me again, and it kind of turns into this healthy responsibility into this piling on of stuff, when so much of our life is just not our responsibility. It's so environmental.
The minute you said that, I thought about a couple of people I know that are going through a 12-step program at the moment. And I see so much of that, it hurts my heart. I'll give you an example. I'll say to this person, let's say their name's Luke. Say, Luke, what are you doing this weekend? How's the 12-step program going? It's going great. It's this, that. Oh, I'm really struggling at the moment because I want to go to this event, but I can't go because I won't be able to stay sober. And I say, why can't you go? And I hear this language. It's like this.
Yeah.
I just don't, I'm not able to go to that. I don't have the power to say no.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sitting there on the other side of the fence thinking, well, if you have to say no, chances are you're surrounded by a bunch of people that don't really have your best interests at heart. Because if you have to say no to someone, that means
someone's trying to battle the environment.
Yeah, someone's trying to influence you to have a beverage. There's that whole other side of the coin to play. And I think a lot of people get stuck thinking, as you said, it's like, well, there's something wrong with me. And that's how I used to feel. I can't function. I can't go to New Year's Eve.
So hard. That's so hard to people. It's such a delicate life, but it's so not true.
Imagine, I think so many of us put ourselves in the wrong stream, so to speak, judge ourselves to perform in the environment that's not suited for us. I think that is one of the most unfortunate things you can do. Go and surround yourself within a group of people that aren't your tribe or that don't operate to the standards and expectations that you have of yourself, and judge yourself in that environment. Isn't that interesting?
Oh,
I'm going to hang around.
It's crazy.
Hang around potentially on, let's say New Year's Eve's coming up. I'm going to hang around on New Year's Eve with a bunch of big drinking, fast talking, let's influence everyone else to have a drink because that's what I want people. and then walk away from that feeling shit like there's something wrong with us.
Yeah. I think because the influence on people who do get caught in a bit of a web of alcohol, whether the damaging influence on that person is invisible. You can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there. So the damaging influence is self-concept is limited, and then you kind of hurt yourself with however you do that. The damage is social, the damage is family, the damage is emotionally. And so all this stuff, no one can see. No one can see how much it can impact and hurt someone's life. So someone just walks into an event, like, I'll just have a drink, whatever. It's ridiculous. It's like, Tommy, imagine someone rocking up to a marathon in crutches, and they go, don't worry, mate, just chuck them off and have a run. It's like, what? What are you talking about?
That is a perfect analogy or metaphor. Like, I've never heard that one before. That is perfect. Now, imagine someone rocking up to a marathon in crutches, and all the other runners go, "Oh, don't be silly, just chuck the crutches."
You're right. Just fucking chuck them off. And just running, just damaging yourself. Oh, sorry guys, it must be me.
What do you think? Coming back to where we did start, which was approaching the festive season and understanding this difference between taking responsibility for you and that there's a crowd or tribes and groups of people that, let's say the Australian drinking culture that might not, have the same outcome that you want. Well, if we just opened it up for a bit of a kind of collab, this isn't scripted from Nat and I, we're chatting on the spot here. What would you say are some of the key approaches that you could take into the festive season that would make, a big difference, as well as obviously the education and the awareness that people are already getting from this podcast? What are some actionable steps that people could take?
Every time this question comes up, Tommy, I get put in two minds. My two minds is this: we can thin slice this down to like social strategies, techniques, tasks, things you can do. We could thin slice it all the way down, or you go straight to the point. We could go straight to the uncomfortable point. The uncomfortable point is that there's only one thing to do. There's only one thing to do. Deepen and widen your self-concept and understand who you are so you can stand there and you take control of the situation and you say no. I'm not kidding. It's not, I can't do that. Yes, you can. You're a human being. Get into this. Like you that is the answer. The answer always comes down to a self-concept. A model of someone has of themselves, I can't do that. Don't try and be the same person and say no. Understand your self-concept better. Understand who you are.
What interests me about what you just said there was that so many of us fall in the category of, I don't know how not to drink. And what I just heard in what you said, you don't know how to say no, that's all.
Yeah, like, exactly.
It's not about, do I know how to drink or do I know how to not drink? It's about, do I know how to say yes and do I know how to say no to other people, to myself? Do I know how to make a commitment? Do I not? And that is so often misunderstood, isn't it? It's like the strategy is no, it's about alcohol. No, it's not about alcohol at all.
Yeah, it's not about alcohol at all.
Yeah, and this is where we either lose viewers or gain viewers. I'm like, yes, I knew that. I had the power. And then some viewers are like, I don't want that responsibility. It's not me. It's the alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah, what you have, you split this road in two. If you don't want to take the more challenging but more rewarding route of why can't I say no? What's happening in me? Let's go on a journey. Let's inquire into that. What you have left over, and I don't care how it shows up, is the medical model. That's all that's left over on the other side. And it's versions of the medical model. It doesn't mean just medication. It's versions of the medical model. I need to go somewhere external to fix me. I need to go see another person. I need to go see this because I have something wrong with me. It's like, if you use the medical model, it's not going to go anywhere. It's very hit or miss. If you go the other way, you're guaranteed a result. It's crazy. You're either going to go external in or you're going to go internal out. That's how this game goes.
Can you just explain that a little bit for the viewers when you say external in or internal out?
So you're going to think that solutions out there externally that you need to run around and draw all this stuff in because you just have to stay the same, and there's a problem. So I'm the same, but there's a problem. I need to go fix it. That's one way of looking at it. Typically the medical model. Or you reverse that whole situation and you say, there is a concept I hold of myself that is deficient and inadequate. what if I go do the work on understanding that self-concept and removing the deficiency, removing the inadequacy, understanding why I feel deficient and undernourished, why I'm seeking these things, and expand yourself to the point where you see through the whole game and you go, I don't need it anymore.
Who's up for
And
more
that's
of
unpopular.
that?
They
Yeah, I was like getting goosebumps. Like, I'm 9 years into doing this professionally, and I'm still like, more, please.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is. That's the thing, Tommy. See, guys, viewers, everyone, listen to what Tommy just said. 9 years in, and he wants more. That means this damn thing is self-verifying. It proves itself over and over and over. You can't slog away at something for 9 years if it's not nourishing you back. It's self-evident in the truth of it.
Yeah. And as well, it's the energy with the, this is important too. Intention trumps action. The energy of like, oh, more please, as opposed to clinical view, which is I solved that external thing. Now, what else do I need?
Yeah.
What else do I need? What else do I need?
What else? Deficiency model.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's exactly it. So do you want to fall into the trap of going, oh, what else do I need to be okay? Or do you want to fall into that more being okay, please? It's so good.
That's it. That's
it. I wanted to share as well as learn to say no. And I'm glad you said that, Nat, because you know this, but a few of our viewers do, but a few of them don't. DLFF was interviewed on Channel 10 a few weeks ago, and the interviewer asked, what's the number one thing that people can do throughout the festive season? And I'm left there going, oh, this isn't a good enough answer because it's unpopular. But my only response was, learn to say no.
Yeah.
We love to tiptoe along the eggshells of like, what can we do? And, go to the event and then leave, and then take your water bottle to the event and then don't go if you're feeling scared. That can all be looked after if you just learn the power of saying no to other people.
Yeah. And there's another piece this time. Sorry, cut you off, go.
But as well as saying no, there is something that will dramatically increase your ability to say no. And I personally think it is stop effing judging people.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So often we feel we can only, not to get too into it, but as most of our viewers know, that you can only feel judgment if, all judgment is self-judgment. That's how I say it. All judgment is self-judgment. And the reason why we feel judgment, let's say in the Australian drinking culture, the reason why we feel judgment is because we're about to be one of the people that we would have judged. That's all we're doing.
Exactly.
Like if we're in the big drinking, culturally, it's good to be a big drinker. Generally, we would judge someone who's not drinking. That was a big problem that I experienced as well. Letting go of alcohol, I was like, oh, I'm about to go back on the last 10 years of being a big drinker.
Yeah,
this is uncomfortable.
For sure.
So I also, as well as accepting self and saying yes to myself and learning to say no to people, as you said, Nat, one of the most relieving things was going, my God, I can accept someone for being a big drinker. I created so much judgment that it was like, well, I'm not drinking, which means you guys should not be drinking around me. You guys are enablers. And it's like, I remember.
Do what you want. Do what you want.
Yeah, I remember I had this huge shift, Nat, actually. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I had this friend of mine, incredibly big drinker, traditionally speaking, would be labeled a Class A alcoholic, high-functioning alcoholic. And I remember a couple of years into my detoxing journey and learning to live with choice, I found this new sense of freedom. And the reason why, it was Christmas time coming up and I was doing a 90-day detox. And I was walking past a shop, and it was a bottle shop. And I looked in there and I saw their spirits that they drank. And my brain went through this thing where I was like, oh, what an idiot for being a big drinker. And I fell into this.
Oh, come on.
Wait up. What would they like as a gift for Christmas? And I was like, they would ultimately love that bottle of spirits.
Yeah.
And I went and bought them that gift, and I felt so liberated. Because the reason I felt so liberated was because I was like, I felt I can be me and you can be you. But my past thinking had been like, Tom, if you're not a big drinker, don't talk about alcohol. Don't get anybody alcohol. That's a what's it called? That's having a hidden agenda. That's like a double version of yourself. You're preaching that you should live with choice, but you're buying people bottles of alcohol. And that, that level of acceptance and not judging that person was a huge shift for me. And it
Nice.
enabled me to go to so many events now and see big drinkers and even get behind them like, skull,
Yeah,
and get
yeah,
into that.
yeah.
Like, yeah, everyone's having fun because they're having fun.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I don't know
Of course.
about you, but I think that is choice and freedom, your ability to stay true
That's-
to your commitments. But then at the same time, you can support someone else's individual view.
Yeah, that's it. That would be a really nice measure to see how you're tracking along the journey. That'd be a really nice measure to see if, you know, can I fully support someone in their individuality and their choice because they can do what they want and I can do what I want, and that's all good.
Mm.
The you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps is old, you know, it seems kind of old school and it seems kind of crass, but when it comes down to it, when you look into it deep enough, that is a big part of the answer is, you know, who do you need to be so that is a viable option for you? What kind of strength, what kind of presence, what kind of awareness, what kind of everything? But there's a second half to that story, and the second half is that, you know, we're the only creatures, Tommy, on the planet that addict. We're the only creatures. And I was always curious, well, why are we the only things that addict? Hey, you can take animals out of their natural environment and feed them drips and addict them, but you're just doing to them what we do to ourselves. And so when you look at that, you go, okay, why are we the only things that addict? It looks like to me, but we've got so out of harmony with how we have to live that we live in deprivation a lot of the time. We live in deprivation of all kinds of things, and so booze can fill that deprivation, and it fills it quite well. So it's not surprising why there is addictive tendencies and why it is so tricky. But I think that is just so perfect, because what you can then say, Tommy, is you can just go, yeah, we addict. We addict to people. We addict to substances. We addict to work. We addict to everything. That's what we do. We addict and we attach. And so what's helped me so much is just going, yeah, I get attached to things and I get addicted to things. That doesn't mean anything about my ability to say no.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
We addict and we attach is so different to you're an addict, you've got attachment issues.
Of course you are. So am I.
Yeah, but isn't that funny? Like, no, we like to classify some people as being addict.
Nah, we're all of us attached, all of us addict.
Yeah, it's like nobody wants to own that, but we'll say, yeah, we're creatures of habit.
Creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit.
We're creatures of habit, but when it comes to alcohol, no, some people are addicts, some people are not.
No, that is so incorrect. It's just a different version of creatures of habit.
Yeah, love that. Oh, mate, before we go into another rabbit hole, I reckon we probably wrap up here because there's three incredible key points. And I am getting a feeling from some people that have been showing up to the live Nat, our viewers are wanting, they're loving the philosophy side of this and they want, yeah, they love the awareness. So like it's, you know, I always say to our Drink Less Feel Fresh members, it's not what you do, it's your approach to what you're about to do that makes a big difference. And I love that that's what we kind of do at DLFF. We share philosophy and thinking and awareness, and then sometimes add a little bit of strategy.
Of course.
And so if you've really been digging this call, then the strategy that you might want to take action on with this level of awareness that Nat and I have been sharing is, number one, learn to say no. Number two, how would I say it? Oh, actually, number two would be, we are, what did you call it? We are all, what was the term? Oh, we all attach.
Yeah, we all attach and we all addict.
Yeah, there we go. That was it, the term. We all addict and we all attach, which is just freaking relieving at the end of the day.
So nice, eh? Yeah, like, of course it is.
So nice at the end of the day. And just jumping into the chat. Thanks very much, Amanda. I appreciate that. I did see that earlier.
So one more thing on the saying no as a strategy. I mean, it seems so basic, but what you can do is you can actually use that not just in the domain of booze. You can do it even little things, saying no to an extra sugar in your coffee. That whole system builds every time you do it. So you don't have to be like, oh, I'm just saying no to booze. You can actually do it everywhere, just in little bite-sized pieces.
Oh, mate, I'm actually really glad you said that, because if you're someone who may fall into the trap of finding it hard to say no, or people pleasing, or just saying yes to fit in, or whatever it might be, find the hardest thing that you'd ever find it to say no to. And if that's not having a shot or a glass of champagne with your buddies, then learn to say no there. And as Nat said, you're almost like you're taking on the biggest obstacle ever. when it comes to saying no to a sugar, when it comes to saying no to going to a Christmas party you don't want to go to, it all becomes so easy for you.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, really
So
well
good.
said. I'll say it one more time because I just thought about step 2, which I forgot a minute ago. So the first thing was, learn to say no. And as Nat just shared, the ripple effects that'll have, not only when it comes to saying no regarding alcohol, but in every area of your life is incredible. The second one is accept people for who they are. Stop worrying about how you don't want to feel judged, and accept people for how they behave. Accept as Nat said earlier, accept the crazy auntie that comes over. Buy her a case of her beverages. Doesn't mean you need to act like that. Accept people for how they are. And please, little disclaimer here. Accepting someone doesn't automatically assume they deserve your time and energy. That's a big thing that people have a misconception. So, Tom, if I accept this person in my life, does it mean I need to spend all Christmas Day with them?
I need to hang out.
No. Accepting people will often give you validation and feedback that you don't want to be spending time and energy with them, but you can accept them at the same time. And then number 3, just accept and walk away with the level of awareness that we're all addicts and we're all creatures of habit, and we all attach to things. We love
creatures of habit.
We love our attachment. We love being attached to things.
Yes, we do.
Anything else to add there, Nat?
No, it's perfect, mate. Crushed it.
I reckon this is our best out of 3 podcasts. This is our best. I've loved it. Thank you to our viewers that have been on live. For those of you that are watching the recording, you can show up live to these. So we look forward to seeing you. Here's to drinking less and feeling fresh. Here's to living with choice and freedom. That's the new salute. I love it, Nat. Have an awesome day, and we look forward to seeing you next week.